Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 my little strawberry. I hope that you had a good day and a good week. Alright, so it's another poetry video. Except it's not a reading your guys' poetry. As much as I really want to make another one of those, I need y'all to send me more. This is my official request for you guys to send me more of your poetry. My email is open. Send them my email. You can also send to my Instagram DMs. I was kicked out of my Instagram forever. I don't know why. I just had so much trouble because ever since I got a new phone, I guess I never logged into my ASMR Instagram, and I had a lot of trouble getting back into it. Like I knew my password, it just wouldn't. It kept being like suspicious, and it like basically locked me out. But I finally got back in. It just took me like a couple months. So I can get poems on there, although I would prefer email because my email is a bit better. It's a little easier for me, and I get a majority through email anyway, so I do like that. But Instagram also works. Either one. Both of which are in my description, so you know my official. Anyway, for this video, I was actually going to read you guys some of my poetry, and give you guys the prompts that I was given for my poetry class. And I'm also going to read you guys some of the poems that I really liked that I got from this class, and also just some poems that I like in general. I'm gonna be going through my this is my poetry / writing practice book. Pink. I'm wearing pink today. I can't really tell. My nails are pink too. But I write kind of all my favorite things in here. I always write in pen and my best handwriting. So yeah, I've been just like working on filling this book up a bit, I guess. Anyway, I also have a project for my poetry class where I have to pick a poem and kind of give a presentation on the poet, their collection, things of that sort. But I also have to memorize said poem, and I gotta present all of that in front of the class. So, for my poem, I'm still trying to decide. And I did decide on my poet. You guys might remember this book that I thrifted. It's a collection of some selected writings. It's not everything he's written, but by Juan Lonz. And he actually won Nobel Prize in Literature. He's a famous Spanish poet. But I just randomly picked this book up at a thrift store. I liked the green cover, and I looked at the table of contents, and I loved the titles that he gave his poems. They're just so pretty. I mean, first ones I see: Nocturne, the garden is deserted. Autumn Maria, Nocturne, the moon pours a stream of glitter. Galante garden, and just, you know, sorrowful garden. Among clouds the moon is, elegy of purity. How Softly the Brook, Odor of Jasmine, which is one of the ones that I am thinking about, but I'll show you. But I just, Ash of Roses, the names of his poems are just like names that I would give my poems. So I was like, okay, I like this already. And I do really like his works. Now, this is a translated to English version, so it's not his poems in their full glory. But I really enjoyed the ones that I found in here. So I have, I think, 9 poems that I'm deciding between. And I don't know, a part of me does want to do a longer poem, even though I know I have to memorize it, but I memorized all of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas when I was a kid, and I would read that every Christmas, or I'd give it like a speech every Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, went all through the house, which I have a video of me reading that. I did that like the Christmas before last Christmas, I believe, but I'm sure you can find it. Just look at my Christmas time videos in the past and you'll find it. And that was a pretty long poem, although it did all rhyme, so that made it easier. But if I could do that as a kid, I feel like I want to challenge myself now as an adult. But yeah, so you guys can help me choose. Some of you guys did give me some poem recommendations underneath the video, and I kind of mentioned this. I will, I think, I can't remember how many I got, but I'll read those when I do a reading your guys' poetry video. But I think I've decided that this is the poet that I want to do, so I'm going to do one of his. I also, yeah, I kind of wanted to do a poet that I have the book of, some of their works at least. I thought about doing Edgar Allan Poe, but I already know someone else in the class is doing him, so I'm like, I want to be a little more original. I'm going to try to aim for someone I don't think anyone else will do. Because I have to present on the poet, and even if someone else does the same poet in a different poem, they're still going to have a similar presentation on the poet themselves, so I'm trying to be a little different. But yeah. So I've been yapping, I know, I always do. I'm just explaining things to you. But I'm gonna read, this is one of the first poems that we got in the class. I think this was the first, but I really liked it, and I feel like this was a really good way to start. It was a good way to start the class too. It's called Introduction to Poetry by Billy Collins. I asked them to take a poem and hold it up to the light, like a color side, or press an ear against its hive. I say drop a mouse into a poem and watch him probe his way out, or walk inside the poem's room and feel the walls for a light switch. I want them to water ski across the surface of a poem, waving at the author's name on the shore, but all they want to do is tie the poem to a chair with rope and torture a confession out of it. They begin beating it with a hose to find out what it really means. That was such a good way to start, I feel like, and we have little discussions in class kind of about what we think certain things mean and all of that kind of stuff. It's like a 1 hour, 15-minute class, something like that, so it's one of the longer ones, it's twice a week. But yeah, I really liked that one. And then there was also, I think also she had assigned a podcast. It was the Ada Limon. I don't know if it's her, I don't think it's her podcast. I think she was on it. Just look up Ada Limon podcast. And she talked about our experience with poetry. It's like an over hour long episode, but they have relaxing voices, so it's nice to listen to. It was actually filmed at like a live event, so you can hear the audience kind of clapping at certain times in the background and stuff. But overall, pretty chill. Good thing to listen to while you do chores and stuff, if you would be like that. I can try to link it in the description if you guys want. But so we had to write an assignment about that, but I wanted to read one of the poems that poet said was her favorite, or the one that she read when she was younger that really made her love poetry, I believe. And it's a villanelle, which I talked about how I wanted to try writing a poem in the villanelle structure. But let me read. This is One Art by Elizabeth Bishop, and I wrote it all out in my book. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost, but their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day, except the fluster of lost door keys. The hour badly spent, the art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, losing faster. Places and names and where it was you meant to travel, and none of these will bring disaster. I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last, or next to last, of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones, and faster, some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I missed them, but it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love, I shan't have lied. It's evident the art of losing's not too hard to master, though it may look like, write it, like disaster. Yeah, I really liked that one. I can see why that one was such a moving poem for her too. I wrote 2 of my other poems, because I have a page in here for lyrics and poems that I like. Ignore the ones that I cross, the quotes and stuff I cross out on this side, but I'm trying to remember a third that I like. But the first one is Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. I love the phrase, nothing gold can stay. That is something that I've wanted to get tattooed for a long time now. But it goes, nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. I love that. And then the other one I love, The Two-Headed Calf by Laura Gilpin. Tomorrow when the farm boys find this freak of nature, they will wrap his body in newspaper and carry him to the museum. But tonight he is alive and in the north field with his mother. It is a perfect summer evening, the moon rising over the orchard, the wind in the grass, and as he stares into the sky, there are twice as many stars as usual. Like, oh, that one's just so sweet. I feel like those poems are different yet similar. But I have space for one more poem on this page, so sorry if you guys have a recommendation for another shorter poem that you think. I'm trying to put my favorite one, so it has to be one I really like, but I've been trying to brainstorm and remember just past ones that I love that I would want to write down. It's hard to think though, so I have to jot things down as I go. I also have a little bit of space under this one art poem as well. I can add another. It has to be shorter though. I've got the 2 main prayers that I would say growing up Greek Orthodox on this other page as well. I mean, this one is so long, it literally continues over to the back. I'm trying to also, I need to go back through my mom's liturgy book and find a third, because there were a lot of prayers, but the Orthodox Creed was my favorite one. And then the Lord's Prayer is the one my mom would make me say every single night. And I'm just trying to remember, because I mean, it was such a big part of my life. And I don't know, I've been really curious from the academic standpoint more of, I've been researching like the history of Christianity, especially, you know, like Orthodox Christianity, since I was raised Orthodox, but different branches in general. I actually person or something, and I was like, I don't want a man in my house, but it was 2 girls. And they were really sweet, and I had a little conversation with them. I don't know, I feel bad. They have to, like, you know, go to door to door and try to get people to, you know, come to their events or try to cover the whole thing. And I'm like, I ain't the one, babe, I'm sorry, but I'll talk to you, like, I'll be nice. I always end up taking their card or whatever. I know I probably shouldn't, because then they mark me down to come back, but yeah. Anyway, I might make a video talking about orthodoxy and stuff in the future. Just like the things that I've been like learning and whatnot. Because I can share both, like, as someone who lived it, experience, and then also talk about like what you can find online. But yeah. Moving on. So one of the assignments, so there was the assignment we did with the podcast, and the second, we had like 2 assignments due on the same day, like pretty soon after this. I got homework in this class like immediately, like do the 3rd day of classes in the afternoon too. The assignments are always due at 12, not even at midnight. But this next assignment was talking about cliches. It was like an article about avoiding cliches in poetry, but also when, you know, they can be helpful. I don't fully remember what the article said, but one of the questions on the assignment was rewrite an overused line. So I chose "Her cheeks were like roses," because I actually talked in this assignment about "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" and how it uses kind of cliches, although that poem is so old, I don't even know if they would have been considered cliches at that time. If anything, it probably invented them, but my point was about how, even though looking back, those lines might seem really like overdone now, they really helped with the memorization and the memorability, and the whole thing is so not juvenile in that it's immature, but like it is meant for children. It's about Santa, it's for, you know, Saint Nick, it's for children. It honestly, the cliches were perfect. Like if there was any way to do them, it would have been in like a poem like that. But so I used, because there's a line comparing Saint Nick's cheeks to roses. His cheeks were like roses, so I did "Her cheeks were like roses," and then my rewrite was "Her cheeks held 2 uneven blooms, the stubborn red of flesh that had argued too long with winter." I kind of wanted to do a bit of a flushed from winter kind of description, but I also still wanted it to be floral. I didn't want it to be too anatomical, because I could have gone in that direction. So I did the 2 uneven blooms, because I still wanted it to be a little, you know, similar, just expanded upon. Like there's so many more words in the one that I wrote compared to just like the simple one. It's always what I try to do with my poetry too. A lot of the time what I write, I just write down my thoughts and then I mean to go back later and do this. Anyway, and then another assignment I had to do the same day was about sources of joy. And she wanted us to, again, I think we were talking about a poem. I don't fully remember. But then at the end, one of the last questions was asking us to write a poem about things that brought us joy that week. So I kind of titled this "Little Things," because she wants us to put titles on all our poems, which is kind of hard for me to do, but I'm trying. I need to write in here actually some of the ideas of different kinds of poetry titles that she covered in class. I didn't do that yet. But I wrote this on like a Sunday evening. Like I feel like this is due on a Monday too. But warm weight gathers beneath blankets, sheets shaded in dusky roses, fur pressed into the shape of sleep, pinned in place like an insect by 2 small bodies on either side. A room fills with soft borrowed breaths. On shaggy carpet, the television hums faintly, episodes flicker blue against the walls. One body always blazing, the other reaching for warmth, backs against the bed, knees crossed, the comfort of not needing to speak. Later, night spills into glasses beaded with cold. Music leaks through open doors. Voices lean close to survive the noise. A friend from out of town pulls the hours tighter, as if the evening knows it won't last, but tonight that is more than enough. But yeah, if I haven't noticed, I tend to do a very description, comma. I don't usually like to use personal pronouns, so I don't know, I feel like I do that with a lot of my poems. This was rushed, so I didn't really try to do a different style. I would definitely change some of the wording and things. This is definitely a rough draft. This is something that if I wanted to make it, a finished poem, I'd have to sit down with and really brainstorm for a bit how I'd want to fix it, add to it, the whole thing. Oh, we had another assignment, we're meant to the main point was writing a poem to your younger self, but we also had the option to write a poem, a typical Sunday evening, which is what I did, but you had to insert your name, so a typical Sunday evening with a cat, although I didn't say my name anywhere in the poem itself. I do want to do the original prompt of writing a poem to my younger self. I just haven't done that yet. I just didn't feel like I was in the headspace to do it. I didn't really care for my Sunday evening one. It was honestly really similar to the other one I just read you about the sources of joy. Because again, I wrote it on a Sunday evening. I do the same thing. It was just a little less interesting because the sources of joy I wrote about a couple different things throughout the week. A Sunday evening is just one aspect. It was the first paragraph about me with the cats. And then watching TV with my roommate. But yeah, so I'm not gonna, I want to fix that one. It was again one that I just did for the assignment, but I don't really fuck with it that much. Let me do, yeah, I'll just read more villains that I had to, I want to read, okay, I'm gonna read another one that I got in class, and then another two that I wrote that I actually do like. But this poem that we got is I Go Back to May 1937 by Sharon Olds. I really liked this one. It's long, as you can see. I see them standing at the formal gates of their colleges. I see my father strolling out under the ochre sandstone arch, the red tiles glinting like bent plates of blood behind his head. I see my mother with a few light books at her hip, standing at the pillar made of tiny bricks. The wrought iron gates still open behind her, its sword tips aglow in the May air. They're about to graduate. They're about to get married. They are kids. They are dumb. All they know is they are innocent. They would never hurt anybody. I want to go up to them and say, stop. Don't do it. She's the wrong woman. He's the wrong man. You are going to do things you cannot imagine you would ever do. You are going to do bad things to children. You are going to suffer in ways you have not heard of. You are going to want to die. I want to go up to them there in the late May sunlight and say it. Her hungry, pretty face turning to me, her pitiful, beautiful, untouched body, his arrogant, handsome face turning to me, his beautiful, pitiful, untouched body. But I don't do it. I want to live. I take them up like the male and female paper dolls and bang them together at the hips like chips of flint, as if to strike sparks from them. I say, do what you are going to do, and I will tell about it. I liked that one a lot. That one was definitely a style that I would want to replicate. I think that also just I don't know, resonated. Some poems just resonate with you, you're damn, I really liked that one. And then some you just I didn't care for that one at all. And yeah, I've gotten 3 times as many poems as this so far in the past, 3 weeks in class. These are just the ones that I really liked. Yeah, it was really the introduction to poetry. One art, which wasn't even in class, it was in the podcast. Mentioned, not even read. I looked it up. And then this, I go back to May. We also got Wild Geese by Mary Oliver, but I actually didn't care for that one as much as I thought I would. I know that one's pretty iconic. I've seen that one brought up multiple times in relation to other poems that I like. I liked the beginning. I didn't care for the end of that one. Anyway, so let me read 2 more poems that I liked more, honestly. And I liked these exercise prompts, so I'm going to share them with you. And then I'll read you the Jimenez poems that I'm thinking of. So this prompt was to go in our camera roll, kind of, and look for a photo, or you can think of a photo and write a poem based on it, although you want a photo that like evokes a story or a memory. One second. Oh my god, hold on. My throat's a little too dry. I start getting the but this one's called Pumpkin Heads, and I wrote this based off of a photo that a series of photos that I took with friends in the woods. They took these photos on purpose, so we went out of our way to do a little photo shoot. But looking through the gaps of a hollowed out berry, knocking the rind against another, off balance weight on my skull and heel wedged between rocks, laughter echoes along with the silence of a forest. The tall pine trees only sway in response, and rocks covered in splotches stand firm. There's a harmony in the blazing orange of a sunset and our big, uneven pumpkin heads, carved with sharp edges into spirals and contours. We make such a lovely image in complementing shades of brown denim, beige lace, and cream yarn. Posing against the rough bark of a fallen tree, one missing, but there in thought. But yeah, that one was fun. That one I would like to kind of sit down and rework. Like, that's the one that I would seriously like, which is funny because at the time didn't really think I would like it as much as I did, but I don't know, it was kind of silly, kind of fun. It was a good memory too that I was writing based off of. Sorry, my roommate was kind of loud. We share a vent, I think. He's underneath me, but we share a vent, so that doesn't help. I'm curious if I can kind of just like drop something on top of the vent, but maybe not. Okay, I like kind of leave it clear just in case our heating turns on and I don't want to like burn my stuff. The next prompt, which I really liked, this one you'd kind of have to do with a friend. It's like almost like a writing exercise. She basically had us start writing a poem, and she would not shout, but she would say random words. I don't know, she must have had a list or something. And as you're writing, you know, you don't stop writing, you keep writing. She would give you a word and you'd have to insert it into your poem somehow, and then just keep writing. I mean, she could even kind of say the word and you could like wait a line and then write it, work it in, you know. As long as you kind of, you know, don't lose track of the words that she's giving, then you're good. And it actually went really well for me because the words she used kind of fit in with what I was already writing, even though they were pretty random. And this is like, obviously, this was written in one sitting, one continuous, like, all of these are kind of written in one sitting. I haven't workshopped like any of these yet, but none of them have like a specific rhyme, stanza, scheme whatsoever. These are all kind of writing practices, but this one especially because I couldn't stop. But it's kind of a stream of consciousness type of vibe. Looking up as the moon rises into the sky like a balloon, feet cold despite the layers of socks. I'm doing this for the words that she fucking gave me. Under my boots, the grass is damp and leaves moisture on my jeans. I I stare up with stars in my eyes. My vision slips to a constellation nearby. It reminds me of you and us and the times we shared under the same sky. The moon was a crescent that night. Like, perfect amount of light for the faint stories I wanted to point out to you, bragging a bit about this world I know little of. Now I wish I could bleach you from my memories, tainted by you. I want to wash them clean and hang them out to dry. But you're tangled in every thought, and I don't think there is a comb fine enough to brush you out. But I'm learning to live with it, and even when I look back on those past times, it's like I've read an old book with a bittersweet end that was worth all the pain. Then the last one was nice because she said we didn't have to do the color red. We could do like read, like I read something. I just realized I forgot that I was making the words that she gave us uppercase, so I knew which ones, and I forgot to make red uppercase. But yeah, I always like that was fun, honestly. And people did really good poems. She made a bunch of people, she had people read out what they wrote, and a lot of people had really good ones. Like, I loved that. It was she said she's gonna do it again with us, so it was definitely a winner. I definitely recommend it. I don't know if you could find like a video of someone reading out random words, or like, I don't know. If you guys want me to do that, like I could make a video of reading random words or doing telling you random exercises to do, like save this chapter for later, or save this video for when you want to do writing, and I'll whisper to you as you write. That would be cool. But yeah, I liked that. Definitely excited to do that again. Those two were probably the favorite that I've written, and I've read both of those in class so far, and I enjoyed them. Honestly, I haven't really super loved the stuff that I wrote outside of class, because I'm usually like rushing to get an assignment turned in. Also just haven't liked the prompts on the assignments really that much, besides the rewriting and overused line. That one was fun because I get to choose what line, but I don't know, the other poems have been a little bit more specific, so they've been a little bit more difficult for me. She also had us write a poem about the first day of class. She had us write a poem about like a memory over winter break. That one I didn't really care that much for either. I don't know. But yeah, so that was all for that one. I will definitely make more videos like this with more poems and stuff. It's only been 3 weeks. I'll definitely have more. 3 weeks officially completed. So, the Jimenez poems. One of my favorites is actually the first one in the book, which I know feels kind of like a cop-out, but I do really like it. He also has a lot of poems called Nocturne, I think, because, night. I'm assuming, because some of these poems don't even have like titles per se. They're just kind of like collection within a collection or something. It's just something I think he experimented with a lot, but the selected writings does have them in chronological order of around, or at least when they were like released or published. So this first one's from like 1900, and then some of the later ones are like 1936. But I love this one. And like, this is the first one I read by him, obviously, because I picked up this book, read the first poem, and I decided to buy it, so it's special to me. The garden is deserted. The avenues lead off to the uncertain penumbra of far-away foliage. The twilight has consumed its holocaust of scarlet, and from fountains of sky, founts of blossoming waters, breezes from the countries of slumber bear down to earth a fragrance of new lilies, a coolth of tenuous airs. The trees are not moving, their calm is so human. They seem more alive than when their branches are waving, and in transparent waves of of the green zenith wander, mysticisms of a sigh, and a perfume of prayers. How sad to love everything and not to know what we love. It seems that the stars speak to me with pity, but are so far away I cannot understand their words. How sad to possess the sacred soul's garden, blossomless, to dream of souls in flower, to dream of gentle smiles, of sweet eyes, of evenings and fantastic spring seasons. How sad to weep without eyes that answer our tears, feeling all through the night as if eyes were staring at them. Night has entered, the air bears a perfume of acacias and of roses. The garden puts its flowers to sleep. Tomorrow, when the moon hides away in serenity of dawn, gives the world the soft kiss of its lilies and breezes, these solitary paths will be flooded with joy. Lovers coming for roses to give to their sweethearts, and children and birds shall pay gaily. Wings of gold see no life through a cloud of tears. Who would dissolve himself in this indeterminate hue which floods space with its waves, pure, pale, and fragrant? Ah, if this world were but always a perfumed evening, I would lift it to the skies in the chalice of my soul. Just like the imagery. Like, I wish I understood Spanish well enough to fully comprehend the original, but I'm not that good. I have a very basic reading level with Spanish, honestly. But I just, even like this English translation is gorgeous. Like, I love this one. First one, and it's like one of my favorite. But this is Rimes 1900 to 1902, so it's just like in this collection, I suppose. I gotta do more research into whichever poem I do choose. Obviously I'll look up the words that I had a little trouble pronouncing, but I love that one. Big contender. 1 second. Oh. I counted all the lines from each of the poems that I'm considering, and I think this is the most of all the poems that I'm thinking of. Oh shit, I forgot to count the lines in that other one. But this one has like 60 lines, so it's pretty long, but they're not very long. Like, they're pretty short stanzas. He has some poems that like the lines are, to the end of the page. So not too terrible. Will be a little difficult, but I am up for the challenge, I think. The next one is Odor of Jasmine. I also wrote down the page numbers. This one's 34. This one's a little shorter, a little longer lines, but it's only 16 lines. This one is: what a sadness, as in the odor of jasmine, summer returns to burn the streets, darken the houses, and at night trickling rays of starlight heavily weigh on eyelids laden with nostalgia. On the balconies, white, silent women linger until late at night, resembling phantasms. Sometimes the river sends forth a tired breeze, perhaps is romantic and unattainable music. The penumbra glistens with sighs, the world becomes in a magical forgetfulness afloat in the soul, and dragons are caught in languid hands, and the high moon stagnates among the constellations. What a sadness there is in the odor of jasmine. Pianos are opened, there are warm glances. Everywhere in the depths of each azure shadow, a passionate and languid vision dissolves. This one's from Labrinito, 1910 to 1911. That one's also really good. There's a lot of really good poems in here. Those are these. I had to narrow it down to 9. Okay. So that was only 16 lines, but they're a little longer, And then let's see, page 36. The next one, The Dead Girl. I liked this one quite a bit too. Your little cold head is like a cut magnolia, like an April lily. You have grown in death in a tragic, snowy springtime. All is cut short for you. Coffin, false lap of mock orange. Oh, sorry, I forgot a line. All is cut short for you, and in the white shining coffin, false lap of mock orange, you lie as if painted, charcoal sketch by some sad painter. black and white. Speak, why do you vanish with your lovely future when already you took part in the illusion of the world? Ruined shape, ruined hope, only a wandering vapor of decay stifled by strong perfumes, only a snow-white silence, a few lengthening hours that will come to be like the others tomorrow. Are you cold, supine, extinguished, erased? Fallen moon, tell me, if it is not a soul, what do you lack? And that's from Poemas Impersonales, 1909 to 1912. I like that one a lot too. I also, I love the names, like Odor of Jasmine, The Dead Girl. Again, names that I would give my own poems. Let's see, page 69, another nocturne, but this one's in parentheses, it says February 3rd. This one's like 25 lines. This one's also a bit long. So was Dead Girl though. The Dead Girl. Quite a few of these are 25 lines actually. But oh, sea without familiar waves, without stations of rest, nothing but water and moon, nights and nights. I remember the earth, which though distant belonged to one, passing over it at night in trains, through the same places and at the same times as in other years, distant mother, sleeping earth with firm and constant arms, with the same quiet lap, tomb of eternal life, with the same adornment renewed, Mother Earth, you who always retain in your single truth the melancholy gaze of wandering eyes. I remember the earth, the olive trees at dawn, firm against the moon, white, pink, or yellow, awaiting returns and returns of those who, without being her servants or masters, loved her and loved her. Diario de un poeta recién casado, 1916, is the collection and time, or the date, I guess. But yeah, I did put which of these, you can tell which are from the same collection by the names. Like this was February 3rd, there's another one that's February 1st, February 7th, February 11th, dated these February 20th. Hold on, I'm thinking also, there's one called Cemetery on Broadway. I'm thinking though, might rethink this one. It is kind of it's like I'm kind of writing almost a journal entry. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do a whole journal entry. I'm gonna cross this one out actually. I'm thinking twice. So allow them down to 8. Unless I cross out another one. Yet again, another nocturne, but in parentheses says, for Antonio Machado. I couldn't tell. The way I wrote that C was terrible. He also wrote another one on cemeteries. He has multiple. This was between New York and Philadelphia, so he would visit America. He has a collection at the end of ones he wrote in America. But let me do this one. For Antonio Machado. It is the celestial geometry of an old astronomer, above the tall cities, towers, dark, slender, small termination of this. As if from an ultimate observatory, the astronomer were looking at it. Precise signs, fires, and colors, with their secrets spread out underneath, in the diaphanous atmosphere of deep blue transparency. What brilliance, what menace, what insistence, what prophecies in the imminent certitude of strange truth. Anatomy of the sky, the science of its movement within it, and for us, a sharp cry, immense and lonely like a falling star. How far from what we were from that spring afternoon yesterday in serene and pleasant Washington Square, from those dreams and that love. This is from Diario de un Poeta Recién Casado, 1916. And that one was 25 lines again. So not too bad. I don't know. I did like that one. I don't know if that would be my favorite. You guys let me know which one you think I should do. I'm gonna read a couple Generalife, which is Generalife. A place in Spain, I believe, I visited. And when I tell you this poem, this is the first one in the fourth section in this. This poem is literally 100 lines. This one. These 2 pages. And that one. Jesus Christ, this is from Unidad, 1925. I love this one, but I cannot memorize 100 lines. Oh my god. I'll read this one in a future video if you guys would like. I'll read it in another poetry video, but like it's gonna take me a second to read it, so let me do this one. Departure, Purity of the Sea. This is from Unidad, 1925. This one's like 46 lines, which is a bit long. Until those pure nights of yours see my soul more lonely than ever, did not feel that desire to set out on some appointed day, unreasoning that gateway on the road the moon sets a light in you, with all the beauty of its centuries of chastity, whiteness, peace, and grace, is tinged with the yearning of its absent movement, frothing with souls of lilies that a celestial music was creating from liquid crystals. On rods of hyaline summits of waves, colors exactly matched, to a sharp aroma of delights that fill life with ecstasy until death. Magic delights still more in the shadow, where those brilliant staring eyes burn, that the vision of that hymned love, light, simple, true, that we do not expect to attain so certainly. Did it resemble the most distant dream? Yes, indeed, so it was, so it began. That was how my child's heart viewed it when my eyes, opening like roses, were raised darkly from those towers of my dreams set shining by the rainbow to the loft clarity of a paradise. And so there was that petal of sky in which my soul found itself, that same as in another self, unique and free. This is the place from which it went on through smooth galleries of infallible architectures of water, land, fire, and ice. Like this eternal night, do I know not where, in the sure light of a few stars, so began the endless beginning, morning desire of my soul, to go out through its door toward its unknown center. Oh, primal whiteness, only and always primal, marble reality of unconscious white luster, mad whiteness not to be repeated, whiteness of this night, sea of moonlight. That one's one that, like, I want to, like, research kind of more about, you know. I don't know, the way he describes things. It's so beautiful. So pretty. Should I do? I kind of only want to do one more. There's one poem called The Rosemary Flower, and there's another called The Returning Flower. One is only 30 lines, the other is 44. Where's the other one? I did that. It was 142. Like, they're both really pretty, I think. The word rape is in the second one. I don't know if I want to say that in front of the class. Yeah, probably not. Of course, I know that's probably not what he means by it, but still. Let me do the rosemary flower. From me bellowing shall hold greater delights than hearing nightingales, Cynthia. I think he does occasionally reference other writers in these. I just don't know who these other writers are. Yesterday you were alone among the rosemary flowers. Would that the sand would permit me to meet you, to tell you I love you. Queen of the field, grant me a moment full of peace and forgetfulness. Woman of moon and sun, shepherdess, will you watch over my life? Yesterday you were alone among the rosemary flowers. If but your blue glances could give me rosemary flowers for my soul. Oh, to graze on the flower on your hillside in twilights of calm. Yesterday you were alone among the rosemary flowers. The morning glory of my life is a tear, and as long as it grazes from flower to flower and forgets, my tears shall be turned to music. Yesterday you were alone among the rosemary flowers. Afternoon and morning sun, solitude, powerful plant, rosemary flower and soul sound against cast the dark shadow of death. Yesterday you were alone among the rosemary flowers. Would today the road would permit me to meet you, to tell you that I love you. From Kension, 1935. Yeah, that one had the repeating line of among the rosemary flowers, which does make it easier to memorize for me. It was 30 lines though, which isn't too bad. So if like at least 5 of those lines is repeating, it kind of puts it at the same difficulty as some of the 25 line ones. Yeah, so I don't know if I would say that one was my favorite though. Let me know what you guys think. Which of those, I guess I ended up reading you 7, not 9, was your favorite. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you're still awake, I hope you stayed awake long enough to help me decide, or at least wake up. When you wake up, skip to the section. I'll try to do chapters, but yeah.